"My name is June, I'm bullied. My tormentors even threatened to come to my house. I pleaded with them not to, because in this house I'm the only normal one. Dad is a serial killer. Mom is a yandere. My brother has antisocial personality disorder. And I am just a pitiful, fragile white lotus." The one who opened the door for me was Dad. He wore an apron, a gentle smile on his face. "Hungry, darling? Dad has some pastries ready for you." His smile widened, becoming almost blinding. A shiver ran down my spine. His apron was splattered with fresh blood, unmistakably new. Following my horrified stare, Dad glanced down, a soft chuckle escaping his lips. "Ah, looks like I dirtied my apron again. Your mother will surely scold me for this later." I trembled, forcing a smile, and stepped inside. On the sofa, a young woman was bound tightly, her hair a tangled mess, face smeared with blood, lips stitched shut with thread. As she saw me, a guttural groan escaped her, her eyes pleading desperately in my direction. My body trembled, and I quickly turned away. This woman, she had abandoned her 5-year-old daughter on the streets to go cavorting with men. That poor child was run over by a car, a truly gruesome sight. "See how much pain the little girl was in when she died," Dad murmured, his voice unsettlingly gentle. I froze on the sofa, not daring to look in that direction. Not long after, a piercing scream echoed through the house. The woman's agonized cries lasted for over 10 minutes before slowly fading. Dad took off his glasses, wiped a speck of blood from the lens, and smiled at me. "June, I'm going to finish up with this woman now. It might get a bit unpleasant. Why don't you go to your room first?" "Yes, Dad." I scurried back to my room. Behind me, I could still hear Dad's soft sigh. I heard him mumble, "Her personality isn't like ours at all." My legs were still trembling uncontrollably from fear, my entire body soaked in cold sweat. This wasn't the first time I'd witnessed Dad kill. The first time he'd done it in front of me, I was only 5 years old. Before my terrified eyes, Dad ended a man's life. He said the man had abused his wife for years, driving her to jump from a building and commit suicide. Yet, the man had never been punished. So, Dad took it upon himself to deliver justice. I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. What worried me most was tomorrow. My daily tormentors were coming to my house. Just picturing their faces made my stomach churn with pain. I had begged them countless times not to come to my home, but they'd grabbed my hair, slapped me a few times, and said they wanted to see what kind of family could raise a worm like me. They had no idea that no one who had ever visited my house had made it out alive. A knock echoed at the door. I opened it to find Mom standing there. She possessed an incredibly beautiful face, but only I knew how terrifying she truly was. Mom smiled and said, "Take off your clothes, darling." I looked at her, almost pleading with my eyes. Still, I tremblingly undressed, revealing my body covered in various cuts and bruises. "Who did this, Mom's smile grew even brighter. I knew Mom was furious. Whenever she got angry, she liked to do truly terrifying things. When I was 5, a classmate in kindergarten pulled my hair. The next day, he vanished. The news reported he'd accidentally fallen from a building and died. Only I knew that the lollipop he clutched tightly in his hand when he died was the exact kind Mom loved to buy for me. In elementary school, my homeroom teacher, thinking I was poor, would often intentionally mock me. Though my desk mate and I shared cleanup duties, she always assigned me the heaviest and dirtiest tasks. Watching me stumble and fall with heavy water buckets in the bathroom, she would burst into laughter. I never dared to tell my family. Even though I hated the teacher, I didn't want my family to do anything. But with Mom's sharp senses, she knew. Not long after, I saw news of the teacher's death in the newspaper. She had been brutally assaulted by a group of thugs on her way home one evening. When she was found, she was no longer intact. When I saw the photos of those thugs, the blood in my veins turned to ice, because I distinctly remembered seeing Mom chatting happily with them near our house. Mom's cold fingers brushed lightly over my wounds. I jolted awake from my thoughts, shivering. Mom sighed softly. "Sometimes I really wonder, are you truly my biological child, June?" I looked at her, saying nothing, because I knew I wasn't their biological child. Since childhood, I had been timid and prone to tears. I remembered when I was little, my pet cat accidentally ran out when I opened the door. When we found it, it had been tormented to the brink of death. One of its legs had been sawed off, and even an eye had been gouged out. I sobbed uncontrollably. My brother, unable to bear it any longer, said to me coldly, "You don't want it to suffer anymore, do you?" I nodded. Immediately after, I watched as my brother snapped the cat's neck. The sound of bones breaking was distinct. I remembered it clearly. A faint smile had played on his lips. Afterward, Dad checked the surveillance camera and discovered the cat had been tortured by 2 children from the apartment complex. We went to confront their parents. They casually dismissed it. "It's just a stray cat. How much money do you want? Call the police? Don't joke around. My child is only 14, and honestly, you were careless letting your cat out. Plus, your cat scared my child." The boy poked his head out from behind them, sneering maliciously. "That cat scratched me, Mom, see. I haven't even asked you for money, so why are you here? Who knows if your cat has rabies?" The woman scoffed. I was so angry I wanted to cry. "I saw the camera. They deliberately stepped on Muop's tail, that's why Muop scratched them." The boy remained unashamed. "Who cares if it was deliberate or accidental? Cats that scratch people should just die." I furiously lunged forward, intending to argue with them, but I was pushed to the ground. My brother helped me up, saying indifferently, "That's right, troublesome creatures that scratch should be put down." His voice carried an extreme coldness. Dad said nothing, only smiled, watching the woman and her son. The woman seemed to have never encountered parents like mine. Despite the argument, their expressions hadn't even flickered. She awkwardly ushered us away. A few nights later, I woke up thirsty and headed to the kitchen for water. The main door opened, and I saw my brother step inside. In the darkness, his face was obscured, but I caught a faint scent of blood. A vivid, glaring red stain marked his jacket. "Brother, where have you been?" I asked, my voice trembling, though a dreadful premonition already filled my heart. He bared his teeth in a smile. "I went to take care of a few more of those scratching creatures." The next day, many police officers arrived at our apartment complex. It turned out the 2 children had been brutally murdered, the scene utterly gruesome. That was my family. They seemed to dote on me, to love me, yet they also filled me with terror. Mom pinched my cheek. "What are you thinking, darling? I was just kidding. You're my precious baby, the one I carried for 10 long months." She added, "June, I found a letter for you in your mailbox." She pulled out an envelope. Curiosity piqued, I opened it. My pupils constricted, my body spasmed. Inside was a photograph. In the picture, I looked like a sickly dog being stomped on the stomach. The bullies were pouring glue on my head, laughing gleefully. I still remembered what they said. "A bitch like you doesn't deserve hair like this." The painful sensation of high heels stomping on my abdomen felt as real as ever. On the back of the photo was a single line, "We're really looking forward to visiting your house tonight, June, to see the life of a bitch's family." At the end, a cute little face was drawn. Cold sweat beaded on my forehead. I instinctively hid the photo behind my back, but Mom didn't give me a chance to conceal it. She easily took the picture from my hand. I watched her, worried. Her expression didn't change, a faint smile still played on her lips. "June, these injuries on your body, they were caused by them, weren't they? Last time you secretly cut your hair, that was also because of them." I nodded fearfully, pressing my trembling cheek against her hand. "Mom, please, I can transfer schools. We can also report them to the teachers. I'll tell them not to come anymore. Please don't hurt them." I pleaded in a weak voice, like a pathetic little animal. In the past, whenever I angered Mom, this tactic always worked. She would forgive me, but Mom just laughed, her dark eyes fixed on me. "June, as much as I love your pouting, it won't work this time. I've told you before, we must welcome our guests warmly. How can we turn them away at the door?" Mom tenderly stroked my face, whispering gently into my ear, "We will surely prepare the most magnificent, most unforgettable night for them." My body went cold hearing those words. That night, I had a nightmare. In my dream, I was 8 years old again. I stood barefoot in the living room, which was plunged into darkness, the lights off. My parents' bedroom door was ajar, a sliver of faint light escaping from within. I heard their voices. Curious, I hugged my doll and crept closer. "Was it right or wrong to bring that child home after all?" Dad asked. "Are you regretting it?" Mom replied. "Not exactly regretting, it's just, Mom sees the child's personality. If we don't like her later, we can just dispose of her. It's only one more body in our garden after all, hee." A cold current shot from the soles of my feet straight through my limbs. At 8 years old, I felt as if I had plunged into an icy hell. Suddenly, the room fell silent. My parents' faces slowly peeked out from the crack in the door. They wore identical smiles, staring at me as they said, "Naughty children shouldn't secretly listen to their parents talk, you know." I jolted awake, drenched in sweat. That conversation, overheard by chance when I was 8, had become my recurring nightmare, a rope tightening around my neck. I never knew when that rope would finally constrict. I wasn't their biological child, which was why my personality was nothing like theirs. If one day my parents weren't happy, I would be killed. Just like those others Dad and Mom had murdered, throats slit, eyes wide open, watching their blood spurt, desperately awaiting death. Suddenly, I glimpsed my bedroom door ajar. I was terrified. I had clearly locked the door before going to sleep. A silent figure stood in the darkness. I recognized the exquisite contours of those high-end leather shoes. "Brother," I stammered, trembling. My brother stepped out of the shadows. He was often busy with work, rarely home. I hadn't seen him in nearly 3 months. He leaned down, looking at me, his handsome face devoid of any emotion. "Why are you back, without warning?" I forced a smile. In this house, more than Mom and Dad, I truly feared my brother the most. Because every night he was home, no matter how many times I locked my door, when nightmares woke me, I would see him standing by my bed, staring at me with an impassive expression. He reached out and stroked my ear. His fingers were chillingly cold. I flinched, trying to suppress the unsettling feeling within me. I didn't resist, because I knew the more I struggled, the more excited he would become. Mom had called him, saying my school friends would be coming over tomorrow and that he absolutely couldn't be absent. My body stiffened, my back tensed. "Our family must welcome guests properly, mustn't we, June?" He chuckled softly, pinching my ear. "And I've missed you so much." My brother shed his jacket. He sat on my bed, his eyes like those of a greedy, venomous snake. "Why can't I just hug you, June, the way you hug your teddy bear?" His eyes were dark, his voice deep and hoarse with a distinctive rasp. I felt a chill. "Brother, I'm sleepy now, okay?" I mumbled, my face pale. My brother watched me for a long time, finally pressing a light kiss on my forehead. "Then sleep well, my June." He stood up and left the room. I clutched my blanket tightly, pulled it over my head, and curled into a ball. I knew he hadn't left, he was just pretending to, because I could still feel a cold, persistent gaze fixed on me. When I woke again, it was already morning. I had drifted off to sleep sometime last night. I went to the bathroom, hastily washing my face. The person in the mirror had an overly weak and pale face. I took a deep breath, telling myself that no matter what, I had to prevent them from coming to the house today. In the corner of the living room, a few bulging black trash bags had appeared. I could even detect a faint, metallic stench emanating from them. My stomach churned with nausea. I didn't need to guess what was inside. What puzzled me was that the number of bags seemed wrong. Far fewer than expected. "June, come out for breakfast," Dad called. "I made you special lean pork porridge." Dad, wearing his apron, smiled radiantly. On the dining table, a steaming pot of porridge sat, and the air was thick with the rich aroma of meat. My brother, dressed in a suit, sat at the table, elegantly scooping a bowl of porridge. My face pale, I sat down, looking at the bright red pieces of meat floating in the porridge. Could this be? A truly terrible thought surfaced in my mind. My brother, eating his porridge, smiled and said, "What's wrong, June?" "Not eating. Young people's meat really does taste better than old people's." Immediately after, I couldn't hold it in any longer and ran to the bathroom to vomit. Dad's grumbling voice echoed from the living room. "That boy, stop teasing your sister all the time. June is so timid. This pork is fresh. I just bought it from the market this morning." Hearing these words, I breathed a sigh of relief, slumping to the floor. I looked up and met my brother's smiling gaze. I had forgotten, he loved my pathetic appearance the most. I refused the driver and took a bus to school in a state of panic. The moment I entered the classroom, several terrifying gazes converged on me, like predators eyeing their prey. Uneasily, I walked to my seat and sat down. As soon as I did, I felt something was off. Giggles erupted from behind me. I stood up, my dress clinging to the chair, and suddenly the sound of tearing fabric ripped through the silence. All the students in the class turned to look. My dress was torn. No one laughed aloud, but their eyes held clear mockery. In an instant, my face went chalk white. "Oh dear, who spilled glue on June's chair like this? It's making our June lose face. Here, wear my jacket." Serafina approached intimately, gently draping her jacket over me. I flinched back in alarm. "Lucas, get June a new chair?" The tall, burly boy with a buzz cut responded cheerfully, quickly replacing my chair. I caught a fleeting glint of malice in his eyes. "All right, class is about to start. June, hurry and sit down," Serafina said, pressing me into the seat. Immediately after, a sharp pain shot through my upper thigh. I cried out, cold sweat beating on my forehead. Serafina leaned close, whispering in a voice only we could hear, "June, how does that feel? In ancient times, a bitch like you would be thrown into a pigsty to die. But I think that's too cruel for you, so I just stuck a lot of pins on your clothes. You should be grateful, you know." I was in too much pain to speak, only able to gasp for breath. The bell for class rang. Serafina returned to her seat. I could feel blood oozing from my skin, sticky and warm. The homeroom teacher entered. When I looked up, my eyes inadvertently met hers. She saw my face, almost drained of color from the pain, but she quickly lowered her head, casually flipping through her textbook. I had actually gone to the teacher once. I told her I was being bullied. She said she would help me. That day, she even said she would talk to me properly after school. The teacher's expression had seemed very sincere. Perhaps I was too desperate, so I overlooked her slightly trembling hand and unnatural gaze. The teacher said she would take me to a quiet private room where we could talk in detail. But the moment I stepped into the room, what I saw were the brightly smiling faces of Serafina and her friends. I was beaten quite badly that day, but I was used to it. In my daze, I began to mock myself. Serafina's father was a high-ranking official who had donated a lot of money to the school. No one dared to offend her. The pain intensified, making me increasingly uncomfortable. I looked up and saw a familiar shadow flit past the window. The pain became unbearable, so I sprang up. My desk mate gasped in horror. "Your clothes, it's blood," Serafina quickly interjected. "Teacher, I think June might have started her period. I'll take her to the restroom." "No need, I can go by myself," I said. The homeroom teacher gave me a cold glance and indifferently said, "Then let Serafina go with you." Whispers erupted in the classroom. "I heard June's family is so poor she can't even afford sanitary pads, she has to use tissue paper." "Ugh, how gross, where did that blood come from?" I parted my lips, wanting to explain, but in the end I just lowered my head and said nothing. Serafina's long fake fingernails dug hard into the flesh of my arm. It hurt so much. She dragged me out of the classroom, then dropped her smile, suddenly shoving me to the ground. I fell hard. Serafina looked down at me coldly. I looked up at her too. When did we become like this? Many chaotic thoughts flooded my mind. When I first transferred to this school, she hadn't bullied me at all. She was quite friendly. This was an elite school. Perhaps it was because I took the bus every day, or perhaps I simply couldn't blend in with them. Or maybe it was because of the boy Serafina secretly liked, who had stopped me one afternoon after school, blushing as he confessed his feelings for me. It was clearly because I had abandoned them. Those who wanted to be my friends, those who confessed their feelings to me, all suddenly vanished one day, because my brother would hug me tightly, whispering in my ear like a lover. "Forgive me, June, I'm just too jealous. How can they capture your heart? You've never truly smiled at me like that." Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through my fingertip. Serafina's pointed heel stomped on my finger. "June, we're so looking forward to visiting your house tonight. You absolutely must treat us well, you must make sure we have fun." Serafina's beautiful face held a childish cruelty. I looked at her for a long time, finally exhaling a single word. "Okay." Serafina froze, seemingly not expecting me to agree, but very quickly an even more sinister smile spread across her face. "I can't wait." Yes, I thought, I can't wait either. After school, Serafina and the others, fearing I might flee, surrounded me from both sides. Outside the school gate, a white Maybach was parked. A tall, elegant man leaned against the car door. Seeing him, my body instinctively recoiled a step. "That's my brother. June, I'm here to pick you up." My brother smiled. I saw a flicker of surprise in the eyes of Serafina, Iris, and Lucas. Serafina's smile deepened. She whispered, "June, why didn't you tell me you had such a handsome older brother?" I remained silent. Serafina naturally stepped forward and introduced herself. "Hello, we're June's friends. My name is Serafina. June invited us to her house today." My brother raised an eyebrow. "You're very welcome." As we got into the car, Serafina deftly pushed me aside. "June, I'm feeling a bit cramped. The back seat is more spacious. Big brother, can I sit in the front?" "Of course," my brother replied with a smile. His gaze slowly traveled from Serafina's face, lingering on her long, bare, slender legs. Serafina's face quickly flushed, and she playfully nudged my shoulder, saying with a hint of malice, "Hey, does your brother like Serafina now?" No, I thought, he doesn't like her. With my understanding of him, he's clearly thinking about how to handle those legs. Iris whispered conspiratorially in my ear, "See, if your brother marries Serafina, you'll all be one family. June, having Serafina as your sister-in-law will surely be very happy." I said nothing, but she misinterpreted it as my fear. She was wrong. I turned my head, flashing her a defiant, cynical smile. Iris froze. Serafina plopped down into the passenger seat, but very quickly, she screamed in horror and sprang up. On her thigh, a red stain was spreading, a tiny pin embedded in her skin. My brother feigned a perfectly adequate amount of surprise and apology. "Oh, I'm so sorry. How did a pin end up here? Shall I take you to the hospital?" Serafina's eyes were red from pain. She stared at my brother, her gaze filled with terror and suspicion. I suddenly remembered the figure that had flitted past the window that morning, and my heart sank. So he had been watching me all along. I clenched my clothes, my eyes inadvertently meeting my brother's in the rearview mirror. His eyes curved, showing clear amusement. I quickly looked away. We took Serafina to the hospital. While her wound was being treated, she cried from the pain, instinctively clutching my brother's clothes. But she quickly released him in a panic. "I'm sorry." "It's all right, this was my fault," my brother said in a gentle voice. Serafina curled her lips, turning her head triumphantly to look at me. My face was pale, my shoulders trembling. Iris lowered her voice. "Hey, are you scared Serafina will steal your brother?" No, I thought. If only she truly could steal him away, that would be a blessing. Before handling his prey, my brother always became strangely gentle. I was terrified, a bone-chilling fear engulfing me. In my panic, I saw their three faces transform into white skulls. From the moment they stepped into the car, they had lost their chance at survival. They ultimately followed me home. Lucas walked beside me, whispering in astonishment, "June's house isn't poor at all. She took the bus every day, making me think she was some impoverished country bumpkin. If I had known earlier—" He didn't finish his sentence, and I scoffed inwardly. If he knew I was rich, he wouldn't bully me. Serafina's expression remained unchanged. She politely greeted my parents. Mom poured each of them a cup of coffee, smiling. "June, you have three such good friends. Why has she never mentioned you?" Lucas was clearly surprised by how young and beautiful my mother was. His darkened face flushed. At this moment, he looked like a normal, naive young man. I calmly observed his reaction. I never forgot how he had punched me in the stomach, blow after blow, with such a cruel expression. Lucas sipped his coffee, then suddenly stared curiously at the black plastic bags in the corner of the room, asking, "Mr. and Mrs. Nguyen, what's in there?" My grip on the coffee cup tightened, my knuckles white from the strain. My father slowly said, "What's in there, you ask? You're welcome to go and see for yourself." Lucas actually got up and walked towards the plastic bags. My heart leaped into my throat, pounding wildly. Dad's smile grew wider. Lucas opened a plastic bag, immediately clamping a hand over his mouth. "It stinks, rotten meat." Disgusted, Lucas recoiled a few steps. Inside the plastic bag were bloody scraps of meat, and a strong, foul odor wafted out. Serafina and Iris both frowned, instinctively covering their noses. "This meat is just leftover scraps from the market. I was planning to take it to the stray dogs near the complex," Dad explained, still smiling. I breathed a sigh of relief. Lucas, who was closest to the bags, his face pale from the stench, kept backing away. Serafina suddenly spoke up. "Mr. and Mrs. Nguyen, June actually has a very interesting nickname in class." Mom smiled and asked, "Oh," Serafina quickly and softly said, "Bitch." The atmosphere instantly froze. She smiled, looking at my parents. But neither Mom, Dad, nor my brother reacted the way she expected. They looked at Serafina calmly, their smiles not even faltering. Mom even chuckled softly, as if she'd heard something amusing. "If we were to describe June as a cute little puppy, it would be quite fitting," Dad said cheerfully. Serafina's smile became a little forced. Iris and Lucas looked at my parents as if they were fools. Iris leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Are your parents mentally slow? The hint was so obvious and they don't get it." Her voice wasn't particularly low, audible enough for everyone to hear. But my parents still acted as if they hadn't heard anything. Iris uncomfortably took a large sip of coffee. Suddenly, her expression changed. She spat something out, her eyes widened in horror. "What is this? Is this a finger?" Iris screamed in terror, but those around her frowned, looking at her. "A finger? This is a finger, June's parents are murderers." Iris stammered incoherently in fear. "Iris, calm down, look closely at what you just spat out," I said indifferently. Iris panted, gathering all her courage to look again, her face turning pale. "Why did it turn into a sugar cube? I clearly saw a finger just now." Iris stammered, trembling. "What finger? You've been watching too many horror movies," Lucas scoffed. I gazed coldly out the window. There, a type of unusually vibrant flower was growing. It was said that if you ground these flowers into a paste and mixed it into food, it would induce hallucinations. It took Iris a long time to calm down, but soon after, it was Lucas's turn to show unusual behavior. He kept looking towards the plastic bags, saying tensely, Can you guys hear that? It's coming from the plastic bags. It's rustling, rustling. Is there a rat inside? Serafina frowned. What are you talking about? Can't you hear anything? Lucas suddenly jumped up from the sofa. His face turned hideous as he said, It's rustling, it's so noisy. It's clearly that loud, how can you not hear it? Suddenly, the expression on his face froze. Lucas seemed to have seen something utterly terrifying, a nearly shattered groan escaping his throat. I had never seen such a frightened expression. Inwardly, I couldn't help but wonder, what exactly had Lucas seen? Immediately after, a foul-smelling liquid seeped from his lower body. Serafina and Iris screamed in horror. Lucas, are you sick? Lucas seemed to hear nothing, staring intently at the plastic bags. It's crawling out. That woman is crawling out of there. Don't you see? She's crawling out. He mumbled like a madman, and my parents and brother, their smiles had blossomed to their fullest extent. Iris was the first to break. She shrieked, demanding to go home. It's too weird here, I want to go home. Although Serafina didn't see anything, she also frowned deeply, clearly sensing that something was wrong. We're leaving. She stood up, grabbed her handbag, and was about to leave when she suddenly stared at me. No way. Serafina's face visibly paled. She mumbled like a ghost, You're clearly dead. Tran Dong, you're dead. I knew Serafina was also starting to hallucinate. I had heard the name Tran Dong before. Before I transferred schools, the person Serafina and her gang bullied was Tran Dong. It was said that she eventually couldn't bear it and jumped from the school's rooftop. Tran Dong's death was quickly covered up, causing no repercussions. Hearing Serafina call out that name, Iris went wild, pulling Serafina towards the door, desperate to escape. But soon enough, their expressions were replaced by utter terror. The door was locked tight with 8 padlocks. My brother stood at the door, smiling at them. Guests who come to visit can't just leave, can they? Their massacre was about to begin. I curled up on the sofa, my body trembling uncontrollably. Serafina, Iris, and Lucas all fainted. When they woke up, they were bound tightly. I stood beside Mom, Dad, and my brother, my heart a mix of tension and complexity. Hey, are you crazy? Why are you tying us up? Lucas woke up, struggling violently, but he quickly realized the ropes were incredibly strong. The more he struggled, the tighter the ropes became. Iris shrieked, What do you want to do? Why are you tying us up? Although Serafina's face was pale, she was the calmest of the three. I advise you to release us immediately, or my father won't let you get away with this, Serafina said coldly. My brother tilted his head, walked up to Serafina, and squatted down. Serafina's chest heaved violently. I clearly saw the uncontainable fear on her face. Your father. My brother's throat rumbled with a low chuckle. The father you speak of, is it him? My brother pulled out his phone. On the screen was a surveillance video. A naked man, hands and feet bound, hung upside down. He struggled constantly, emitting terrified, muffled grunts. Look at this pig-like thing. Is this your father, Serafina? The calm expression on Serafina's face vanished. She angrily screamed, Release my father, you maniac. I heard your father was a butcher when he was an official. The pork he killed smelled much better than others, my brother mused. Serafina, do you know how he kills pigs? Serafina's face went white. Others kill pigs with a single, clean strike, but your father prefers to do it differently. He likes to torment the pig. While the pig is still conscious, he'll sever its limbs and then slowly peel off its skin. He believes the meat tastes best when the pig dies in ultimate agony. Serafina gasped for breath, her chest heaving violently, her body trembling. What exactly do you want? Serafina suppressed her fear, gritting her teeth as she asked. Serafina, I'm going to give you a chance to survive. Do you want it? My brother's voice was gentle to the extreme. Only one of you can live, your father or you. Now I'm giving you the power to choose. Iris shrieked, You dare to kill us? Murder is illegal, you'll be executed. Lucas also screamed, begging to be released. Mom tenderly stroked my hair, saying, Are you scared? How pitiful, but we can't let you go. When you bullied our June, she must have been just as scared. Iris cried, I'm sorry, June, please forgive me, I'll pretend nothing ever happened, I won't bully you anymore. I'll listen to whatever you say. Lucas, the tall, burly man who could make my nose bleed with one punch, now wore a pathetic expression. He begged me. Me too. Please, June, I'll be your servant, I won't be Serafina's minion anymore. All the ideas to bully you came from her, it has nothing to do with me. I gazed at them, feeling only a slight annoyance. Dad looked at me with affectionate eyes. June, what do you think we should do? Mom also turned to look at me. I clenched my hands as if only pain could calm me. What should I say? What should I do? My heart was pounding rapidly. After a moment of silence, I heard my own voice, soft and low. It's up to Mom, Dad, and brother. The faces of the three bullies lost the last bit of blood in that instant. It turned out that sometimes, the faces of the living could look exactly like corpses. My brother said, "Serafina, my patience is running out. I'll give you 3 seconds to think. 3, 2, 1. A look of agony and ferocity flashed across Serafina's face. Finally, she gritted her teeth and said, "I want to live." My brother's face broke into a radiant smile. "Then, as you wish." In the surveillance video, a giant electric saw appeared next to the man. The next second, the man's horrific, pig-like screams of agony echoed. The scene that followed was utterly gruesome. The man had been processed by that saw. Serafina shrieked, crying desperately in despair. I silently watched her. Iris was so scared she wet herself. She trembled uncontrollably. Lucas's face was chalk-white, too terrified to speak. They hadn't expected my brother to actually go through with it. He had clearly used such a cruel method to kill someone, yet his expression hadn't changed at all. "My father is dead, can you spare me? Brother, please, spare me." "I'll do anything for you," Serafina begged. "I truly know I did terrible things to June. I'll change, we are all minors, still children. I'll listen to June from now on, okay?" Serafina wept, pleading. My brother looked down at her with a hint of pity. "Do you believe the words of a madwoman? I've read June's diary." My brother sighed, speaking slowly. I parted my lips but ultimately said nothing. "My June also once begged you to spare her. She's kind-hearted, she doesn't want anyone to die because of her. She clearly gave you many chances to live, but you still wouldn't leave her alone. Now your chances are used up. Do you know June's nickname in class? Ah, yes, it's bitch. June, shall I show you what a real bitch looks like?" My brother turned his head, his dark eyes fixed on me. Memories mingled with the metallic scent of blood flooded my mind. My hands trembled uncontrollably from the tension. I didn't know what to do. I shivered. The ambient temperature seemed to suddenly become damp and cold. Mom sighed. "Don't ask June anymore. Don't you know our June is soft-hearted?" After realizing my brother would not spare her, Serafina unleashed the most vicious and cruel curses she knew. My brother didn't care. Instead, he seriously compared Serafina's calves. "These legs are too long. Dog legs should be shorter. We'll have to saw off a lot. The arms are too long, too." Serafina was finally consumed by despair. She suddenly remembered when she got into the car, that man had stared at her legs. It turned out even then he was already thinking of turning her into a dog. "June, the next scene will be very bloody. You won't like it," my brother said with a twisted smile. Mom took my hand. "June, let's go downstairs. Let the men handle these dirty matters." "June, don't go. Please save me." "June, June, you can't just watch us die. Please, please, we know we were wrong. Save us." The three of them cried miserably, screaming and begging me to save them. I looked at their once arrogant faces with a numb expression. I mumbled heavily, "I clearly told you, you can do whatever you want to me, just don't come to my house." I emphasized it many times. Finally, I turned and followed Mom out of the room. The door slowly closed in front of me. I could see their eyes filled with extreme despair, just like I had seen in those who were killed before. Inside the door were screams. Ear-splitting screams. But our house had excellent soundproofing, no need to worry about the neighbors hearing anything. I was clearly used to it, but the immense fear and the torment of my conscience still brought tears to my eyes. I buried my face in Mom's arms, sobbing. Mom stroked my hair over and over again. After crying for a long time, I looked up and mumbled, "Mom, will I also be killed by you and Dad one day? I heard everything that day. I'm not your biological child." Mom looked at me in surprise, then she smiled. "You mean what you heard us say when you were 8? You silly girl, you think you're not our biological child? I've never lied to you, you're the precious baby I carried for 10 months. "Then I can't believe it," Mom sighed. "This was something we never intended to tell you, but now that you're grown, you have the right to know the truth. Actually, your brother is the child we picked up. At first, we thought he was a normal child, but the more we raised him, the more his personality became like ours. More precisely, he has congenital antisocial personality disorder. We worried he would harm you, so we always hesitated about how to deal with him. And your brother, he truly loves you." I grumbled a soft, clutching Mom's clothes tightly. At this moment, the screams upstairs suddenly ceased. The door slowly pushed open. My brother stood on the second floor. I looked up at his face. His face was stained with blood, but he was still as handsome as a god. As if he feared I would be scared, he quickly wiped the blood from his face. But in reality, I was very happy. "My name is June. My parents both have congenital antisocial personality disorder. Unfortunately, I couldn't escape it. I also inherited this personality type, only I understand better how to conceal myself. When I was 8, I knew my brother was adopted by my parents. Honestly, the moment I learned the truth, I was overjoyed. I love my brother to the point I want to consume him, to stitch our bodies together so we are never apart. To make my brother protect me, I tried to pretend to be a pitiful, naive white lotus. Every night when he snuck into my room to secretly kiss me, I couldn't help but tremble. Not from fear, but from exhilaration. I love my family. Though sometimes they are quite simple, I don't know how to describe it. They love to kill, but they often leave behind oversights. The day my brother killed those 2 boys, I cleaned up the crime scene for him. The reason Mom and Dad have been killing for so many years without getting caught is because I've diligently cleaned up their aftermath. Although I live a very difficult life, constantly having to clean up after them, I still love Mom, Dad, and my brother the most. My name is June. My brother is a yandere with antisocial personality disorder. He always thinks I'm a white lotus, but in reality, I'm even more twisted than he is. The bodies of Serafina and the other 2 were found at my homeroom teacher's house. It was said that when the homeroom teacher was arrested, she cried that she hadn't done it, but all 3 bodies had her fingerprints. Before the homeroom teacher was sentenced to death, I went to see her once. I just quietly said one sentence to her, and she immediately became uncontrollably enraged, screaming like a madwoman. How terrifying. I just told her that I had given her a chance. When I left the police station, my brother was waiting for me outside. Many girls were secretly looking at him. How disgusting. I wanted to gouge out all their eyes. I approached my brother, tears welling up, my eyes red, and said, "Even though the teacher didn't help me before, wasn't what we did to her too much?" My slender fingers clutched my brother's clothes. "I don't want to see the teacher die. It clearly wasn't her fault." My brother stroked my head, sighing, "June, that kind of person doesn't deserve to be a teacher. Do you know that when she faced bullied students, she continued to ignore them, even aiding the bullies?" I grumbled, feeling down. Seeing my bad mood, my brother took me to eat yakiniku. I managed to force a smile for him. "Then I'll eat a lot of meat. We should celebrate a little." Without the interference of Serafina and the others, I was admitted to the best university in the province. The night before I left for university, my brother again stood by my bed, silently watching me. His gaze was like a cold, slimy snake. My body couldn't help but tremble, not from fear but from exhilaration. The bed dipped. I could feel my brother sitting beside me. His fingers brushed across my throat. I instinctively flinched. "June, you're leaving me soon, aren't you?" My brother sighed softly, his voice hoarse as if trying to endure something. "I want to keep you by my side forever." His hands tightened around my neck. The intense feeling of suffocation slowly reddened my face. I started gasping for breath, but inside I was overjoyed. Because my brother had the same thought as me, he wanted to keep me by his side forever. Brother, a little more, stronger. If it were any stronger, my neck would break. But unfortunately, I couldn't help but open my eyes. My brother suddenly let go, a rare look of panic on his face. I whimpered weakly in fear. "Brother, do you want to kill me?" He leaned close to my ear, apologizing painfully over and over again. I chose to live in the dormitory because I knew this would drive my brother insane with jealousy. On the first day my parents took me to school, they left with a reluctant expression. Clearly, they were cold and detached when killing, but now that terrifying man had red eyes because his daughter was leaving home. "June, can't you stay with us? You're studying so far away. Dad will buy a villa near the school today." The tall, pitiful man pleaded earnestly. Mom also smiled and said, "June, stay home with Mom, otherwise I'm afraid I won't be able to control myself." I recoiled a step in fear, looking at their helpless pleas. "I really want to stay in the dorm. I want to live a normal university student's life." Mom's smile faded, her expression complex for a long time, finally sighing. "All right, but if anyone bullies you, Mom and Dad will still do as before, you know that, right?" I nodded nervously, gathering all my courage to say, "I've already added my roommates on WeChat, they're all good people." Finally, Mom and Dad agreed to let me stay in the dorm. Dad pulled Mom away. Dad mumbled, "Not seeing our daughter every day, how can I be at ease?" Mom rarely looked serious, saying, "What do you know, last night I saw June kicking off her blanket." Their voices were drowned out by the noisy crowd. I walked into the school. Before entering, an intense gaze was fixed on me. I curled my lips in a very good mood but still pretended to turn around in fright. When I no longer saw that familiar silhouette, I breathed a sigh of relief. No one knew that as soon as I left, my brother stepped out from behind the corner, his face gloomy, staring in the direction I had gone. I stood blankly in the vast schoolyard, feeling a little disoriented. At this moment, a mild-mannered, handsome male student appeared before me. "Hello, are you lost? I can show you to the registration office. My name is Leo, and I'm the student council president." The male student said, smiling. I gave a shy smile and gently said, "Thank you, I appreciate it." Leo quickly took my luggage and led me forward. Along the way, he prudently introduced me to the school like an enthusiastic senior, but he couldn't fool me. On Leo, I detected a faint scent of blood. That metallic blood smell was too familiar to me. Those who have killed for a long time carry a scent that cannot be erased. Walking behind Leo, I curled my lips in delight. Here we go, another tool to foster the relationship between me and my brother. Along the way, I deliberately staged a stumble. Leo, of course, caught me just in time. I blushed and apologized. Leo didn't mind, offering a smile full of hidden meaning. But he didn't realize that in my heart, I was counting down. 3, 2. Before I could count to 1, a slender hand suddenly wrapped around my shoulder, pulling me into a tight embrace. My brother's deep voice said, "June, I'm sorry, I'm late." I frowned and struggled slightly. I knew Leo would definitely not miss this small gesture of mine. Sure enough, he sternly asked, "June, is this really your brother?" I mumbled a soft, and whispered, "I'm sorry to bother you, my brother can take me from here." Leo frowned but still said to me, "All right, let's exchange WeChat. You're new, so you'll have many questions. Feel free to contact me anytime." Under my brother's dark gaze, I blushingly exchanged WeChat with Leo. After Leo left, my brother chuckled softly. June just blushed. "What's wrong? Do you like that type of man?" But clearly "Don't be like that, brother. Not everyone is like you." I stopped, my face pale. My brother curled his lips. June, why didn't you continue?" He was smiling, but the light in his eyes gradually darkened. "Oh, this tool is indeed still very useful." My new roommates were all very nice, but because they were too nice, they weren't interesting at all. I lay on my bed, munching on potato chips, occasionally chatting with Leo. I must say he knew how to charm girls. His conversations were humorous and didn't cross any boundaries, far more skilled than those guys who only asked, "What are you doing?" or "Send me a selfie." But that couldn't change the fact that he was a scumbag and a tool. I quickly hacked into his phone. I saw that he was simultaneously chatting with me and 8 other girls. His time management and typing speed impressed me. Perhaps I was his new prey that he had his eye on, so he pinned me to the top of his chats. The note said, 168 pure and innocent white lotus. Very quickly, I found a 500-person chat group on his WeChat. The group title was Conquering the Despicable Bitches. All the members in the group were male. Today, Leo even posted in the group. I didn't know when he had secretly taken pictures of me and posted them. Oh, this small, pale face, I really want to peel off her skin. A white lotus, this is the type I enjoy tormenting the most. I've killed so many people already. Who told that wretched woman who abandoned me to have a face like this? Dude, quickly take her down, but your methods are far superior to ours. You usually don't even need to lift a finger to make women commit suicide for you. This is a girl who slit her wrists for him, another who jumped from the 18th floor. Top tier, absolutely top tier. Leo replied, "You guys are giving me too much credit. How should I torment this new prey? Cut off her legs? Peel off her face? How boring. I think we should boil her alive and eat her, stuff her into a huge oven, ha ha ha." The words in the chat group were brutal and bloody. As if what they were discussing wasn't a human being, but an animal waiting to be butchered. I chatted with Leo for many days. During this time, all my brother's calls went unanswered. All his video calls were rejected. I knew he was about to lose his mind. I saw in Leo's phone that he had decided to kill me today. He would chain me by the neck until I died, then pour boiling water over me. The boiling water would scald my flesh, and then he would peel off my skin layer by layer. This method of killing received the highest praise from the men in the chat group. Very quickly, Leo sent me a WeChat message. "June, would you like to go to the movies today?" "Of course," I agreed. I happily hummed a tune as I sent a WeChat message to my brother whom I hadn't contacted in a long time. "Brother, Leo and I are going to the movies today. Please, I'm begging you. He's very important to me. Please don't hurt him." I perfectly demonstrated the anxiety of a girl in love for her beloved. My brother didn't reply. I knew he was green with jealousy. I went to the movies with Leo. After the film ended, a strange glint flashed in Leo's eyes. He slowly said, "June, I'll take you somewhere, a place you'll definitely love." I obediently nodded, but the further we walked, the more I felt something was wrong. "Brother Leo, why is it getting darker and darker?" I asked anxiously. Leo reassured me, June, we're almost there. Don't be scared, I'm here. Finally, I followed Leo to our destination. It was an old, dilapidated abandoned factory, very dark with nothing around. I looked at Leo with suspicion. Leo laughed. He took a deep breath and exhaled. June, do you know what kind of meat in this world is the sweetest and most delicious? It's women's flesh. Pour boiling water over a woman, wait until her flesh is completely scalded, then use a razor to scrape off her skin layer by layer. Leo licked his lips. Brother Leo, why are you telling me these things? As if realizing something, I panicked and tried to run. But Leo gripped my hand tightly. He held a rope in his other hand. June, our fun time has begun. No, I thought to myself without a hint of worry. It was time for him to get his comeuppance. Leo was bound tightly, his mouth stuffed with his own shoes, only able to emit terrified, muffled grunts. June, now you believe me, don't you? My brother said coldly. Brother Leo, why did you do this? I clearly liked you so much. Tears streamed down my face. Sure enough, upon hearing the word, liked, my brother's oppressive aura dropped a notch. He turned, smiled, and with a slender finger lifted my chin, asking, June likes this kind of man. I quickly nodded, then shook my head, my eyes brimming with tears as I said, there must be some misunderstanding. Leo shouldn't be like this. Leo nodded furiously, making muffled sounds for a while too noisy. My brother was indeed enraged to the extreme. He stepped towards Leo, smiling. How about we use the method you plan to kill June to kill you instead? A look of extreme terror appeared on Leo's twisted face. Before killing Leo, my brother blindfolded me with a silk scarf. June, you won't like the next images. My eyes were plunged into darkness. I only heard my brother sigh. Then I felt my eyelid warm. A warm kiss penetrated the silk scarf. Leo's agonizing screams lasted for a very long time. Finally, when I saw him, he had become a bloody, mangled mess of flesh. My brother used Leo's phone to record a video and sent it to that 500-person chat group. The entire group went silent. In less than a minute, the group owner disbanded the chat. But we would go after each of them, one by one. My brother would make them experience the most excruciating pain in this world. I watched my blood-stained brother walk towards me. June, you were so scared just now. I nodded uneasily, but still tremblingly reached out to wipe the blood from his face. Unexpectedly, the next moment, he hugged me tightly. The embrace was so powerful it felt as if he wanted to mold me into his chest. From brother's perspective, asterisk. I have a younger sister. Her name is June. She's not my biological sister, but from the first time I saw her, I loved her. When she sees me kill someone, she'll show a frightened expression. But she's very peculiar. I deliberately leave traces at the crime scene, and she will both grumble and help me clean up. I finally realized she loves to act. My June is so adorable. She loves to play the role of a pitiful white lotus. She likes me but often intentionally does things that drive me crazy, pretending I don't know anything. But in reality, I know everything. Not just me, but Mom and Dad also know her capricious nature. But who told us to spoil her so much? We can only continue to cooperate with her little act. If your heart is still beating calmly after this story, please subscribe to Chillify Audio to uncover many more mysteries. Every night, a shiver.